I'd argue that I'm among the best designers because of how deep I go into every step of the process. How many designers can create an original design concept, do all the technical specification, make their own lasts, make their own patterns, do all their own sewing, and then put it all together to make a beautiful pair of shoes? That's exactly what the Shoemanifesto channel is. I make beautiful shoes from scratch and I show you every step in the process. Stay with me to find out what it takes to bring my ideas to life. Hi, welcome back to Shoemanifesto and to a new Handmade Shoes project series. Just like with the last project, we'll always begin with an idea and a sketch. And of course, the Shoemanifesto channel is all about taking an original design concept and making a prototype pair of shoes from it, all with an eye for style and creative design. The goal for the first step in every project is to set a very clear vision of the design that I'll be crafting. This is also the beginning of the preliminary phase. Of course, things can and often do change, but the clearer the vision now, the more efficient I can be throughout the project. In just a moment, we're going to use the Lightbox and dry erase to discuss ideas on things like color and construction and materials, and we'll end out this video with a freehand pencil sketch. Before shifting over to the Lightbox, I wanted to very quickly recap the last project. I feel pretty good about it. It was an ambitious first run at it, but I learned a lot. Of course, I have areas to improve, which includes the crafting and the workflow, the filming, the editing, so on. All told, this work is really challenging, but also very rewarding. So I'm really glad I started the channel. In scripture, there's a cautionary verse that talks about the perils of succumbing to greed. That's where this design began. I admit that this look has a hint of macabre. That passage and so this design ethos are intended as a mirror into oneself, one's priorities. This is one of my designs that I always seem to come back to. I used to practice with it when I was first learning how to use Illustrator. This design has always been a candidate as a showpiece for my portfolio. I think I've drawn it and redrawn it half a dozen times. As a concept, it's evolved somewhat, and it will evolve even more, I'm sure, as I actually begin crafting them. When I draw it out here on glass, you'll see that it's actually very simple. I'm going to take a PU leather with a dollar bill motif on it and cut that into small irregular pieces, which I'll then sew back together to make a shredded dollar bill look for the heel counter. That cutting and the way that the heel counter will look is intended to have a shattered glass effect. I still have to think more about that and devise how I'm going to accomplish that. These shoes will also have a single black floret on the vamp. So let's sketch it out real quick on the Lightbox, get a good look at it, and as we go, I'll break down all of the design elements and discuss them. Here we are again at the Lightbox. These shoes will be cement construction. Heel height is 110 millimeters. The colorway is mostly black with green and a pop color of red in the heel counter binding. The silhouette is a classic Dorsey, single sole, closed, pointy toe box. The throat line at the cross vamp will be just below the shoe's natural breakpoint at the B-line. I'd like to create this vamp so that it has a rolled edge, so there's no visible seam, which is in total contrast to the patchwork look of the heel counter. These shoes will be slip-on, no hardware, no closure, no elastic. That's a warning for me to avoid a bad fitter. I don't want these shoes to slip off, so both the vamp and the heel counter have to fit snug. I'll be using a single satin flower as an embellishment for the vamp. Those will also be black and sewn in place from underneath prior to even lasting the upper. I'll be adding top line tape at the heel counter, also the top line edge of the vamp to prevent stretching of the pattern pieces, hidden of course. Here, and also here. I don't know if it was visible, but I scalloped the edge of the sock liners in the last project, and I really like that look. I think I'll repeat that and may even add punch holes at each scallop for a broguing effect. I'll be making the toe puff and heel counter celestic stiffeners for this project to keep the shape of the upper. The toe puff I want to come all the way up against this edge of the cross vamp. I think that'll look really nice. I want the vamp to appear blank with no visible stitching, just black with a black flower on top of it. I'm considering using a contrasting or even complementary colorful fabric for the insole binding, just for interest. I'll see what I have and experiment with ideas. For For the last for this project, their shape will have a pointy toe box. They won't need to have a very tall top line, so these last can be low cut. I think I will split these last to make them easier to remove. I didn't in the last project and they were a bear to work with. So just for the sake of ease and also demonstration, I'll split the last for this project. There will be a red edge along the dollar bill motif heel counter, which is sobering and evocative. This vertical cut on the vamp, when it's on the foot, it will look glamorous and modern. Much of the foot will be bare, so we'll see the bones and the joints and the tendons. So these shoes will look daring. Even though it's a simple silhouette, it's full of creativity in the details. Final review. Classic Dorsey, symmetrical, 110 millimeter heel height, single sole, pointy toe box, flower embellishment at the vamp, shredded dollar bill patchwork at the heel counter with a red rolled seam edge. I definitely like the look and the story. It's a twist on a classic silhouette, but has those pops of color at the heel counter. The narrative is very clear, evocative without being too literal. I think they'll be very wearable, very versatile, and would be easy to style. And when they're worn, I think they'll actually look very subtle from the front. These are definite statement shoes. The biggest challenge for this project is also the shoe's focal point, the heel counters. I'm going to be using a patchwork quilting effect for the dollar bill motif PU material that I chose. Do I seam allowance every piece and then sew them all back to each other, or do I use raw edges and sew them to a backing material like muslin? That could be a cool effect to actually see all of the edges and stitching running in parallel. The outsoles will be Cuban style, meaning that they will stop where the insole board meets the heel, not covering the inside of the heel itself, which means that there will be a visible seam along the inside of the heel. So I have to take my time to make sure that those edges are straight, even, and nice. Of course, I'm definitely going to make a first set of patterns in PU and check for tight singing patterns and fit. As far as opportunities for this project, I have a lot of leftover material that I would feel better about using. We'll get to that and address that in the tech pack video. I'll see if and where I can use some of those leftover materials in this project. The beauty part of actually making my designs into prototypes is that I have to translate my ideas into actual wearable shoes. In my design work now, I'm always asking, how would I execute this idea? So this is good. Capability and sequencing and construction inform my work now. I really like using the Lightbox. I love the creative process. Brainstorming sessions like this bring up ideas and questions, and that is critical to being efficient and really maximizing the potential of any project. And Glass makes the changes and corrections quick and easy. I'm going to leave you with a montage of me taking all of these ideas and making a pencil sketch for this series. In the next video, I'll be getting more into the artwork side of this project with a marker and colored pencil sketch, and then I'll be doing a full computer rendering using Adobe Illustrator. Progress pics and updates will be posted right away to Shoemanifesto Instagram and Facebook pages. Please be sure to check those out. And that's where you can also see past completed projects. Also, the Shoemanifesto socials are a quick and easy way to reach out to me if you have questions or thoughts or ideas. So the call to action on this video is to set your intention. Think about your dream. Imagine you've reached your goal. You've succeeded. How would that make you feel? See yourself in that space and hold on to that feeling. And let that motivate your actions. And never give up on your dream. See you in the next one.
Seeing monsters out your window. No, you can't sleep. You pretend though. You don't have to play the hero. 'Cause I got you like you got me. When the earth shakes, when the bombs scream, until our last breath, every heartbeat. When you found me drive